Who looked at a map and thought, I know, let's send a massive squad of footballers on a 26-hour flight to New Zealand in the winter to sharpen up for the season ahead. Half of them looked like they'd just finished their GCSEs, but cool Uncle Richie was there to represent the adults, although most of the sensible grown-ups stayed at home pretending to be injured. Friendlies against traffic cones aren't the proving grounds we'd like them to be. Comparing Williams Barnett to Musa Dembele, Archie Gray to Declan Rice, Donnelly to Wharton, and many Garys have done so, is a bit premature. Although writing off Richie for failing to control a high ball is probably fair enough. The handbrake is off. That's the feeling within the club. That has been confirmed by Gary. So, well, But the pace of incoming transfers is somewhat glacial. RDZ says we're looking for more wingers and attackers, which suggests that one or two more will be on their way out. Is that Mikey? Oh. Kroupi is allegedly being courted by Inter, but he wants Barca. Some of our fans think we should put some respect on his name, while others want shot of the captain who, after all, wanted to fuck off to Argentina while his team fought an existential battle in N17. I know where I stand. We've got Room 101 for you, and we'll be asking what's your worst Spurs nightmare, and there's loads of other stuff for you. Strap in. It's Nice One, Cyril.
Nice one, Cyril.
So welcome to Nice One, Cyril. I'm Simon Lipson, a Spurs pessimist in pessimist's clothing. Julie Welch is an optimist in pessimist's clothing. Kev Acott is an optimist in optimist's clothing. And Dave Bradford is a scientist to whom nebulous concepts like optimism and pessimism are just measurable chemical flaws in the human psyche. So welcome, everyone. I don't know what. I sounded like Robert Robertson. There we go. I've got some long words for you. So look, welcome, everybody. I haven't got the comb over, though. Welcome to the show. Well, look, I tell you what. Let's get started with Julie. Transfers. It has all kind of slowed down. Somebody put a brilliant tweet out. It said, nothing new this week. Deja vu all over again. This person seems to think that this is just like the old days. We've had a little splash out and nothing now. We do need some players still, Julie. What's your take?
Yeah, we certainly need some new strikers. And I was horrified to see something on X about probably 2 hours ago saying Chelsea were interested in moving on Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson. And I just thought, we're going to get Liam Delap, aren't we? Apart from that, the Savinho situation, it's a bit like a Victorian novel, isn't it? One of those Dickens novels which appeared in magazines. You got about 1,000 words a week. So it went on for about a year or something like that, by which time, probably if you were old and you'd been reading it, you're probably dead before you got to the denouement. Will I still be alive when Savinho comes to White Hart Lane? I don't know.
Well, will I still be alive? I mean, it is a worrying thought, isn't it, that they're still after this guy. We keep reading tweets, don't we, Kev, that, he's definitely on. And then you see one that says he's definitely off. Another one that will say, Man City are just waiting to find a replacement. And another one will say, yeah, but they want 90 million for him and blah, blah, blah. I was listening to another podcast the other day. They all seem to agree that he's definitely coming. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
As Americans say, I could care less. He's rarely played for City, hasn't he? And there's a reason for that. And I'm not saying we should buy only players who fit straight into the Man City first team. But from what little I know of him, he's okay, but we probably have 2 or 3 midfielders who are as good. No, it's just it's boring. If we get him, fine. I wouldn't complain about that. But if we don't, I couldn't care. Couldn't care at all.
It's an interesting thought, isn't it? That here's a guy who barely put on his football boots last season. I mean, there's an argument, Dave, possibly that City have got a tendency to buy loads of people. They try them out and then they they decide one of them doesn't quite fit. And particularly under Pep, he's quite picky and difficult, maybe for whatever reason. Savinho didn't fit, but he's still a good player. It's impossible to know, isn't it? He did well before he went to City.
Absolutely impossible. I mean, Chelsea's an even better example, isn't it? That people have gone there, not succeeded, and then gone elsewhere and been fantastic. Mo Salah being the most extreme sort of example. Somebody said he's followed Tonali on Instagram. So who's sitting there watching this kind of thing? Somebody must be seeing, got their tracker on Tonali's Instagram feed. So that means it's definitely happening, I think.
Well, of course, the other signs that everyone points to is the Xavi posts, and because he was big mates with him at wherever the hell they were previously, and it's like what do they call him, Agent Xavi? Oh, fuck off with that nonsense. Julie, I'm sure you were up at 4:00 in the morning the other day to watch us beat the mighty Auckland 2-0. Have you caught any of that match? You seen any highlights, or couldn't you give a shit?
Basically, I was out of shits to give, but I did see Richie miss because I saw a clip and I thought, I'm glad I missed that. I don't know. It's just sort of a pointless money-making exercise, isn't it, really? I mean, it always is. Hope they have a nice time. Hope their plane doesn't crash on the way home. What else can I say?
Yeah, I mean, the idea that it's a kind of a warm-up, that these players are going to, get some of the rust out of their systems, I suppose it's, fair enough. You've got to have pre-season games, Kev, but I don't know, that's a slap right across the other side of the world to play a naff team, put a load of kids out there in the first half. And we played the MK Dons before that and beat them, slaughtered them 1-0. I'm not sure what we're gaining from all this. I think the players come back more exhausted than when they left.
Yeah, I mean, I guess most big clubs do it because they're trying to build their fan base in other countries, and I sort of get that. If you were De Zerbi, though, you would hate it, wouldn't you? It's a terrible way of trying to prepare for the new season. The one thing I do want to say is Archie's pass to Solomon to set up Scarlett's goal was just beautiful. I thought it was Hoddle-like. It was seriously. I just think that just the way he curved it was just lovely, and that's the one thing I would a positive thing I'm trying to take from the whole nonsense, really. And we're next playing Chelsea in Sydney. Which is just bizarre, isn't it? It's
bizarre.
Anyway, no. So, but I'm going to hold on to Archie's pass.
It's a beautiful pass, Dave, and he looked, from what I saw and what I've heard, very good, very commanding. He was like the adult in the room in that first half with all these kids playing. Interesting comments about Donnelly. So people comparing him to Wharton, and Gray was being compared to Declan Rice. And the other one that stood out, I think, more in the MK Dons game was Luca Williams-Barnett. Now, all of us on this pod have had a bit of a thing about Luca Williams. Not as much as we have about Mikey Moore, obviously, but he looks just insanely talented. And he did some stuff in the MK Dons game. I don't know if you've seen the highlights. And you just thought, fucking hell, he's smooth as silk, and he just moves away from people.
I thought he was fantastic, wasn't he? He really looked, and kind of, I guess you wonder whether that obviously it's not Premier League and all that kind of stuff, but you don't, when we've drawn these sort of teams in the cups, you don't see us drifting past them easily in every scenario, do we? So I think it's worthwhile form, that's for sure.
You say he's one for the future, but of course you hope he's one for the now.
Yeah.
I think he played kind of more or less 10 against Auckland, and that, that's kind of where I'd see him rather than a winger. The other one, Julie, you know your way around these academy boys, and I don't even think Donnelly can be called a boy anymore. And the other one is Scarlett. Now, let's start with Donnelly. He's 21 already. Scarlett's 22. They've done nothing. at the top level. And frankly, Scarlett scoring in this meaningless match and Donnelly looking like Adam Wharton against dustbins, it doesn't. I can't imagine either of them will be retained.
I would think it unlikely. I would be much better for them now to find a lower level club, just to be brutal about it. Because as you say, then I don't think they're going to make it in the EPL. I don't think there's going to be room for them. I mean, no. Scarlett has just been around for ages. I mean, they're both likeable players, particularly Jamie Donnelly. But if they haven't done it before, they're not going to do it now, I don't think. Whereas Luca Williams-Barnett, actually, he's a little nugget, isn't he? Little ball player. He's very graceful. And I hope he's going to be our Max Dowman, the very young guy who actually sort of really cuts the dash in the Premier League this season. Although, given RDZ's desire for Premier League experienced talent, I don't know about that. Meanwhile, I am terribly worried about Mikey Moore. I mean, is he going to be offloaded? That's my great fear, because I vowed that I was never ever going to utter the words generational talent, but he
did it last week, Julie. You did it last week.
I know. I can't help it. He was going to be, not our Harry Kane replacement, but it was going to be the same sort of career trajectory. I really love the guy. I think he had a fantastic season at Rangers in the end. The way he turned it around and made it work for him. He's obviously, got a lot of balls, hasn't he? But I just have this terrible fear that he's going to, as I say, he's going to be offloaded. And Simon, how will you live?
I won't. I mean, that's it. We're done. We're finished. I mean, actually, RDZ said this because someone asked him whether he sees Mikey as one he'd like to keep this season. He said, we have to see. We have to analyse the last part of the transfer market because we try to bring wingers and then we speak with him, with his agent, with the club to find the best solution for everyone. I think that's RDZ saying, no, I don't see a future for Mikey Moore at this club this season, and maybe not at all. We'll talk about RDZ and his attitude to the youngsters a bit later on because he said some surprising things this week. I just wanted to stick with our forward issues. Kev, I know you're a big fan of Richie, but let me read you these stats. Sorry, Kev just spat out his beer there. These are his stats at Spurs. I was shocked at just how fucking awful he is. Right, look at this. 133 games. I'll tell you what, you guessed how many goals in 133 games?
27.
You're in the right ballpark, 32. So he's a 1 in 4 man. He's a forward. He's a centre forward. 14 assists in 133 games. Kev, that is the kind of output I'd expect from a third-rate midfielder.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to think of anything original to say really about him. He occasionally does brilliant things. He once played for Brazil, who, as we saw in the World Cup, are not actually particularly good anymore. But he did play for them, and he's got a good attitude. I think he cares about playing for us, and he cares about the people around him, and he obviously had a prolonged period with mental health problems, and there's lots of reasons to want to support him, but he's not good enough. Those statistics, although those statistics can be slightly misleading, I guess, given he's been in a not very good side. He's not been receiving the supply that a good forward should, but he's not good enough. I can't see him wanting to stay. I think if someone came along, anywhere in Europe, a sort of decent club came along for him, I think he'd go. And I think he should go for our benefit and for his. Really, he's not good enough.
No, and allegedly he wants to stay, but I think that's just bullshit. That's doing the rounds in order to make him more expensive when he goes. I mean, this is interesting, isn't it, Dave? That, you know, we're talking about the lack of forwards around that we might logically buy who could score some goals for us. I haven't got Solanke's stats for us in front of me, but I would reckon pound for pound there's not much to choose between them stats-wise. I personally think Solanke's a much better footballer. Possibly Richie's a better goal scorer. I don't know, but between them, it sort of amounts to fuck all, doesn't it?
It does. It does a bit. I'm going to give a quick shout out actually to an article that I saw by somebody called Tom Mitchell on stillthelane.co.uk. I think I sent it round about the structure of some of these guys they've sold as well. The structure of the deals. They've got sort of buyback options, haven't they? And I wonder whether that might be a bit of a Mikey and all these others. There might be options on some of these guys of getting them back in.
Is that what they call matching rights or something?
Matching right? Yeah, I think we get. Yeah, whoever puts in a bid, we get first refusal to match it and whatever. And there's sell-on clauses and all that jazz, but there is a sort of a buyback clause if they turn out to be good.
Right.
Lancashire and Buskovich, they were talking about. I've both got those in their deals that they've gone, which I just thought was quite interesting, really. It's quite a cunning plan.
But even so, I would be absolutely gutted if they did a deal about Mikey Moore in that way, because I would just think, you know, that what made us Tottenham Hotspur was just that kind of player, that kind of, you know, bringing through a young homegrown. And, you know, some were pretty awful, some were pretty average, and a few of them have been great. It just seems not Spurs to me. Sorry, sounds really sentimental, and I know the game's changed completely, but I would be so appalled if they did offload Mikey Moore.
He looks like a player with something, and we ought to indulge it and see if it turns into anything. Kev, I don't know where we are with our midfield. We bought Tonali and Fernandes, both at great cost. We've got Gray, who I can't believe they would sell. Sarr, Bentancur, Gallagher, Berraval. I'm sure there are some others I've forgotten. Who's leaving? Who's leaving here? Because all right, we accept that we're probably going to get 9 injuries in the first 2 matches, but still, you can't accommodate that many midfield players, can you?
No, but it's hard to know because I think Sarr, Bentancur, Gallagher, they've all shown bits of, you know, promise in a way that they could be good team players. Would I be upset if any of them went? No. Again, and I suspect the choice is, you know, it will depend a bit on luck, on if people come in, if other clubs come in with a decent price, then I think any of them will go. I mean, I think if I had to choose, it would be Sarr of our midfield players, and possibly Gallagher would be my least favourite because I think he just showed towards the end of the season what he can do for us. But again, I'm not upset if they go. I suspect 2 of those that you mentioned, the 4 you mentioned, I think will at least will go. Mm-hmm. We may still get what's his name from Forest, the man who
Gibbs White
was the man who was threatened into not signing for us. I think we may still get him. I think he would boost the midfield, no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, any of them could go, I think, and a couple should.
I agree with you. It's a difficult one. Berraval, I think, Dave, we can all see something in Berraval. We'd hate to see him turn into an absolute great not playing for us, and you can understand why he might want to leave to try and get minutes elsewhere. I really want to love Sarr because I know how hard he tries, and I know that he's got ability, but I just don't feel he's got much finesse.
Yeah, did we get with all of them? I think you could say almost with all those guys, we've got so starved of quality, didn't we, that we were kind of like clutching at anything really to kind of see the very best in people, maybe.
Yeah.
And obviously that's more usable. They're all still relatively young. Well, Berival definitely. I thought Sarr was, at one point, I thought he was going to be the kind of kingpin of the team. And he hasn't really gone on, has he? And
No.
Gallagher, as Kev says, I thought there were some really encouraging signs. But he's maybe, again, might be one of those sort of nearly players as well. I mean, he's definitely a good squad player, I think. It's tough. I think our kind of senses of what's a good player have been a bit dulled in recent years, would be my take.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's the days when we had a Gaza or we had a Ginola or, of course, the great Glenn. Those players are not around really. These standout individuals, and so we latch on to certain players and hope that they're going to be, and maybe even Mikey Moore. I'm sort of thinking maybe he's the guy. Maybe Luca Williams-Barnett is the guy. But we'd love to see that, wouldn't we? But perhaps it's too much of a team game now. Those great individuals, the Messis, are harder to find these days. I don't know. Well, I'm talking shit. We talked, about RDZ kind of being all about the now. Buying ready-made players, and we're kind of thinking that perhaps his attitude towards the academy is who needs them. But he said this, and I think he was kind of challenged on this, and he said, talking about Williams-Barnett, he said he's a big talent, very young, big talent. Malachi Hardy, is another good player for the future of the club. We can't forget the young players, especially for the new rules, the financial fair play or the rules of the Champions League, Europa League. We have to improve our academy. We have to help them produce more players because we need it. And it's important for the club. It just felt when I read that, it was like he's towing a line there in order to say the right thing. But I just don't really think, I don't think he believes it.
I think there's a certain amount of cognitive dissonance there. Because, as he just said, everything points in the opposite direction. He doesn't really give a toss about academy players. It's not his department. He just wants the ready-made players to come in. There's just a point from a bit earlier about our midfield. There's been some pics of Kulusevski actually at training, and I'm just wondering, against all odds, whether he might be able to make a comeback.
Is he on the grass, so to speak?
He is on the grass. Yes.
Dave, just to say, this is an audio podcast, so no one could see you smoking weed there.
But it's lovely to have a joke that's never been made before.
That's why Dave's on, to make those fresh as a daisy jokes. I've forgotten where we've got to now. Yeah,
so saying if Kulusevski will ever come back, because if you're talking about midfield players, I mean, he was fantastic. Right till his fitness broke down completely, and I would love to see him play again. Oh.
Well, I think we all would. We know what a gifted footballer he is. You just have to wonder, after a year out, people possibly suggesting that he might be finished. I mean, the Swedish team doctor, we talked about this a little while ago, his words did not fill us with great optimism. Few outgoings, Kev. Ashley Phillips apparently going to Middlesbrough, which is a shame because he's been a titan for us, hasn't he? He's been absolutely, what a buy. So that looks like he's got, but frankly, we bought him for not much. We might sell him for 8 mil. Why not? Come on. The other one who nearly went was Alfie Dorrington. Now, here's another kid who was supposed to be the future, the next Alan Hansen or something. He was going to go to the West Pomeranian Voivodeship, a club called Pogon Szczecin. They play in the Elka. They came 9th last season. I can't understand why Alfie didn't want to go.
Sometimes I think you just say stuff, Simon, regardless of whether it's actually a coherent sentence at all. But then maybe that's what this whole podcast is about. Yes, exactly. Yes. It's funny, this whole thing with the young players is, that they're obviously there already because there's something special about them compared to other football players of their generation. They've obviously got something. But those who actually make it are just really hard to predict. aren't they? And and sometimes it's about a bit of luck and a couple of injuries, and someone comes in and has the chance to start making a difference. I don't even. I know I shouldn't say this. Even Mikey, if he goes, I think as long as we have that sort of boomerang contract thing, then maybe he needs another year. I don't know. On loan.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs a little bit more experience. We won't know until we try him out. And is De Zerbi going to try him out?
I do think there might be a slightly different way to read. I don't pretend to understand these rules about players, because as far as I understand it, Kevin Danso, the magnificent Kevin Danso, counts as a locally produced player, doesn't he? Even though he's Austrian national and da-da-da. But we're on quite a loose rein this year, aren't we, on this? But if and when we get back into Europe, that will be tightened up, and then the academy players. So there might be like a 1 year, buy all the ready-made guys now, keep the kind of either the options or the promising young guys that are still registered as ours for 27, 28 rather than 26, 27.
Yeah. Well, I did read out some boring stats last week about, homegrown and who's not homegrown and what, but I can't remember any of it, which is a shame, really. Let's have a quick chat, Julie, about the new captain, or is there going to be a new captain? Lots of talk over the last week or so about Maddison most likely being made the new captain. It's like an open secret. Meanwhile, the actual captain is hanging around, Kroupi, supposedly going to Inter or Barca or anywhere to get rid of him. I don't know how much of this holds water, but would you say, I'm not sure how important a captain is these days, but would you say Madders would be the ideal candidate?
I think that his time out with an ACL has probably matured him a lot. And he seems like a very likeable man. He's got some depth to his personality. I can't see him doing the sort of barnstorming captain's speeches in the dressing room that Harry Kane is allegedly specialising in. But then Sonny really wasn't that kind of motivating captain either, was he? But everybody loved him. And you get somebody like Romero, who had what you'd think, captain qualities, the warrior, the never say die sort of bloke, never give up, win at all costs. And when you sort of look back at his record, all the fantastic things that he did, his leadership in the Europa League, kind of, just sort of scrubbed out by his appalling kind of attitude last season. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be enraged if Maddison became the captain. Who else is there, really? We've got all these new guys. Not going to make Richie captain.
Why not?
Well, it'd probably be fantastic, wouldn't he?
The greatest right back in the world, surely, is the other candidate. Isn't it?
Lot of talk about the greatest right back in the world becoming captain, and I for one have always said he's our best player and captain material. I think we could go back. We could go back through the pods and find me saying that. Now, just a quickie here. I'm not sure whether to come to Kev or Dave. What's going on with Maddison's hair? And I say this because he suddenly got a load of hair. Not that long ago, he was well on his way out. And in fact, I saw a bit of film of him today having his hair highlighted and faffed around with. And I thought, what the fuck? Where's that hair come from? It's a bit like when Ericsson suddenly came back with a load of hair. What's going on? That's what I want to know.
I did have a 7-year stretch in a fragrance and flavour company. And I can reveal that you can buy human hair, and we did indeed buy human hair for studies of shampoo. I wasn't involved in that work, but I did see it on occasion. So I presume he's buying some very expensive hair extensions. He's obviously done better than Wayne Rooney did.
Well, yeah, but his hairline suddenly looks all up there and where it should be, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever game he's playing, well done. But we need more information. Let's have a little look. I've got some random names, Kev, come up recently. We've got of course, the great Matteo Ruggeri, who plays in Italy.
Right.
Another one is Stuttgart's Bilal El Khanous, used to play for Leicester. Which of those should we be pulling all the stops out for?
Well, I think definitely that second one that you said, him. I think he's pretty good. I mean, I've watched his YouTube highlights reel many times, and I've been saying to everyone, we really need to sign what's his name. We really do.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. And also, look, Kev, I did see this a tweet, which I think you will appreciate. Pedro Porro, Senesi, Spence, and Kuti were all there at the fag end of a grueling World Cup. Will they be ready for game week 1?
First of all, the use of the phrase "game week 1" should be banned, and anyone who uses it shot. Oh God! Don't now. I'm having flashbacks to the World Cup final, and that was just the worst football match any of us have ever seen. I don't know. Romero wasn't that good, was he? Really, during the Spence was great. Porro was amazingly. I don't think he was quite as good as people made out, but he was good, better than we've seen him. Who was the other one you mentioned? I can't remember who it was.
I think it's Senesi.
Yeah, Senesi. I mean, again, looked, from what I remember, sort of looked all right. No, they'd be fine, won't they?
I don't really care what you think. I just wanted to say game week 1 to you. That was it. So that's it. The other thing, I'm going to come to Julie for this. We got Mr. Van Hecker starting for us, hopefully this coming season. Is he the Dutchest looking player you've ever seen?
Now, that's a good question, because my first husband was Dutch, and there's definitely Dutch look about Van Hecker, the blue eyes, the sort of slightly crappy blonde hair. It takes me back. What more can I say?
Well, no, you've answered the question, I think. I always thought Ronald Koeman was the Dutchest player I've ever seen. But I don't know, Van Hecker. And the other thing, of course, he's about 6'8". If you ever go to Amsterdam, I was there not that long ago, everyone's 6'8". The women are 6'8".
They all drink milk at lunchtime. You go to I used to
Yeah.
Collaborate with a couple of universities there, and you go in the university canteen and everybody's drinking milk.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the key.
Out with Coca-Cola and nonsense.
No, that's the key. I mean, I always say to my wife, I'm a strapping 5'9.5", and I say, I feel short here in Holland. She said, "You are short wherever you are." Bless her. Now then, let's have some stupid tweets before we get on to some other bits and bobs. This is my favourite tweet of the week, and I complimented the tweeter on this. It was South Dorset Spurs. It was regarding Schlederup, right, who we talked about last week, the Norwegian who we apparently were in for. And he says, "What's the matter, you? Hey, or Schledapper your face," which I thought was very, very good. In fact, I think it's Schledderupper your face. But I probably messed that up, but it was still very funny. Now, here's another one. Tottenham have approached Kerim Adjabegrovic's agents in the next days to explore a possible deal. Kev, what's your view on Kerim Adjabegovic?
Again, I mean, if anyone would be a better signing than what's his name that you mentioned earlier, it would be him.
So, Kerim Adjabegovic. Yeah, I agree with that. Here's a good one. Eli Junior Kroupi is liked. I've shouted that because it's in capital letters. By Robert De Zerbi. Aside from Savinho, he is Spurs' top target. Okay, so I think you know where I stand, where we all stand on that. Here's another one. Tottenham intend to make a proper move for Junior Kroupi at some point. I'm glad they tweeted that because now we know. There we go. And this is the last one, which is my favourite stupid tweet of the week. Spurs believe they have an agreement of £85 million for Kroupi, although they have not officially bid yet. How fucking stupid have you got to be to tweet that? Or 9 years old. All right, let's move on. Room 101 time. Dave, take us away.
Well, I'm going to put Sarr into Room 101 because, I mean, despite I am sick to death of seeing on Twitter in particular every single pundit about every single club. Our club is massive. It's huge. As my wife has reassured me over the years, size is not everything. And I don't care really how big Spurs are as a club. I just want them to fucking win something again. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, I really have never understood this big club, massive club bullshit. What does any of that matter? Kev, what have you got?
I've got, well, originally it wasn't football related at all, but it just annoyed me so much. But it is sort of football related, which is Christopher Nolan. I'd like to put Christopher Nolan in Room 101 because he made Odysseus, which is 3 hours of the most annoying film I've ever seen. I looked up just before we came on air. I looked up which team does Christopher Nolan support, and I'll give you 2 guesses.
No, all right. Ooh, okay. Julie, what do you think? We're supposed to say Arsenal, aren't we? We're supposed to say Arsenal.
Supposed to say Arsenal, but it's not.
I'm going
it's
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Is it Chelsea?
Oh, actually, no, it's not Chelsea. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Liverpool Football Club.
No. Liverpool Football Club.
This one could go on and on, couldn't it? No, it's Manchester United because he was born. He was born in England, in London, so supports Man United. And it not only was it an awful film, it had Tom Holland in it, who's a bit rubbish in it, and who's supposed to be a Tottenham fan. He keeps talking about being a Tottenham fan. And I looked it up, and he became a Tottenham fan during our Champions League run under Poch, right? He was 23 at the time he became a Tottenham fan. So that's not real either. And it also had confusingly had Anne Hathaway in it, who claims to be an Arsenal fan and who is, I think, one of the blandest actresses ever, but was actually, oddly, confusingly, quite good in The Odyssey.
Wow.
So all of which has just blown my mind. I will never get those 3 hours back.
No.
So Christopher Nolan in Room 101, please, along with Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland.
Okay. Well, look, I just want to say this, and I'm going to drop a name. Tom's dad, Dominic. I used to work with him on the comedy circuit, and he's one of the nicest men I've ever met. One of the nicest men, delightful, not like most comedians who are total wankers, egocentric morons, but he's one of the nicest men, grounded, normal. And my daughter knows Tom, and she says he's the loveliest bloke on earth.
Oh,
unaffected. I'm sorry to do that to you. So lots of names, all the names I've dropped. Listen, my daughter was asked out by Harry Styles. So, that's the level I'm working at right now. That's the level. Okay. She said no, by the way. The only woman in history to say no to Harry Styles, it turns out. Julie, what have you got?
Okay. Bad football books goes into 101. I mean, as a writer myself, I appreciate, we've got to make a living. We've got to be paid basically to produce a book. But every other football book is just not worth reading because they've all been done before. You're just reading the same shit, just sort of rearranged a little bit. There's a new-ish Gaza biography out, which I think has won some sort of award. And the best Gaza biography, it was written by Hunter Davies some years back, and it was British Sports Book of the Year, and it's absolutely fucking terrific. It really is. So this new one that's out in hardback, obviously, it's to make Gaza a few bob and the writer a few bob, and I've got nothing against that, as I say. But when I want to read a football book, I keep thinking, tell me something I don't know. And most of the books you get now, they've already been written, and it's just a rehash. Are people now so stupid that they forget that, 4 years ago, somebody else did a book on the same thing? God, I sound sour. But
do you know what? It's like that bloody biography of Tottenham Hotspur. That shit comes out every.
But at least it changes every time it comes out.
Every fucking year, it's the same old shit with another chapter at the end.
3 more chapters, please.
I don't know who writes that.
You do get something for your money.
Okay.
The same with film, though, isn't it? They remake films over and over again, and they're rarely a patch on the original.
Good point. Yeah, I've got a couple of quickies for Room 101. The one is a football related one. Is a quickie. These idiots who pose as David Ornstein. I don't know if you've seen these tweets, and they look so authentic, and they say, Spurs are in for Vinicius Junior, and they've offered 200 million, and he wants to come to Spurs. And you think, fucking hell, Ornstein says it. Oh, wait a minute, it's someone called Orno Poo Poo one or something. Oh, for fuck's sake, stop it! Behave yourselves, children. But the thing that really pissed me off this week is I was in my favourite coffee shop. I won't name it because Kev will probably have a heart attack, and he doesn't like it. He's got some weird objection to Gales. I've said it now. But anyway, I'm in Gales, and this guy walked in, mid-50s, he's wearing short shorts, very short shorts, socks and sandals, which I can't be doing with. And I looked it up to him. He's got a ponytail. Okay, now, okay, that's all right. You can have a ponytail, but not if you're bald at the front. I can't have that. I'm sorry. Pack that behaviour in. It's not on. And luckily, Kev cut his ponytail off ahead of the show. I don't get that, Kev. And Dave, what are you trying to prove? Is he going to lump it all over the front one day, or what's the plan?
No, it's not good. It's not good.
So, bald men with ponytails, Room 101. Okay, now look, we've got a little feature for you today, suggested by Julie, and it's what is your worst Spurs nightmare? Let's start with you, Julie.
Well, I think I made a little list, but I suppose one would be Romero staying. Another is sort of nightmare related, which is who's going to get the first ACL this season and how early.
Yeah.
And is there going to be betting on it? And if so, is Tonali going to bet on it and be done, suspended?
That's lovely circular reasoning there. I love it. Yeah, that could happen, of course. Would he deliberately, stretch his ligament and snap it just to win a couple of $100,000?
Well, it depends how much he's getting every month, doesn't it?
Well, he gets that in a week, mind you, doesn't he? So,
exactly.
Not worth it. Not worth it.
And of course, a lot of people would say, their worst nightmare is Richie staying. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to even comment on that.
Well, we had a few people. We put this out on Twitter, and we had a few people sharing that sentiment. One was Susie Barnacle, who's now on the show. She's one of our new regulars. That was also Daniel McNeil. He says, well, actually, Daniel McNeil said, going down to the final day and having to win to avoid relegation. Oh, wait. Which I thought was rather good. And he says, but otherwise, starting the new season with Richie and Dom as our strikers. Susie limited herself just to Richie. What have you got, Kev?
It's almost a prediction rather than a nightmare, but I think that the two are often the same anyway with Tottenham. It's that we have a really good start and we go into the first North London derby of the season feeling hopeful and confident, and we get hammered. And Gyökeres scores. That's it.
Yeah, that's a killer idea, isn't it? Because he's such a donkey, and he scores against us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, what have you got for us?
Mine is also Woolwich related. Mine will be them winning the Champions League, actually. So that Gabriel hiking it into row, or what did he do? Hooked it, I suppose, did he? Into row Z. Was a very golden moment in last season, really, for me, actually. It's a bit tragic, isn't it, that?
Yeah.
But there you go.
We've got a couple more from readers. One is from Chris of this parish, Chris Ascombe. He says his worst nightmare is the club getting its act together in every department, both on and off the pitch. The impact on my health would be catastrophic. You can see what he means, can't you? And Ivor Haskins said RDZ getting the bullet after 2 points from 8 games and the club deciding to give Sol Campbell his long-awaited shot at managing a club.
That's horrific.
I can't sleep thinking about that. My worst nightmare would be Spurs winning everything. And just bear with me on this, because historically, right, we're shit and occasionally plucky, right? We're plucky and shit. And that is the balance of the Spurs universe, right? And winning brings entitlement. Entitlement brings arrogance. Arrogance turns us into Arsenal fans. Right. So I just think we have to revel in our mediocrity. It builds character. It's character building, what we've been through. And, it's like a late 1-0 win over Rotherham. It still feels special. It won't if we're winning everything. So you've got to, it's a delicate ecosystem that we live in. Let's not upset it. Leave the DNA alone. All right. So I think we've covered all that shit. Now then, I think we're kind of at the end of proceedings for today. But we do have the big match against Chelsea in Adelaide or Melbourne or somewhere. Julie, A, do you give a shit? And B, what's the score?
Well, I think it'll be 5-1 to Chelsea. Richie will score.
Of course.
The thing is, I did try and watch all this stuff. I tried to get onto Spurs Play, and I just got the sort of revolving thingy because too many people wanted to watch us playing, garbage United of Auckland or whatever it was. So, yeah, I think that I'll probably pass on that one.
Okay. Kev, it's a kind of a reasonable time, I think, isn't it? It's sort of 11-ish or 11:15 or something like that. So it's there to be watched. What will you be doing?
No, I don't think I will, unless what I heard today happens, which is an otherwise reliable, sensible colleague of mine said that Chelsea are looking to sign Danny Welbeck, which I don't know whether that says more about Danny Welbeck's career or the state of Chelsea at the moment. So I think I'd watch it if they suddenly sign him, fly him out to Sydney and put him in the team. Of course, having said that, we know who's going to score the winner, don't we? If that happens. So I'm just rambling. No, I'm not. Almost certainly not going to watch it.
No, Dave. Actually, do you know what, Dave? I'll tell you what. We could do worse than Danny Welbeck right now.
Yeah, he always looks like a real trooper, doesn't he? Actually?
Yeah.
He does actually. Yeah, and he's got longevity and fitness and stuff like which doesn't happen at our place much.
No. Well, who knows? Maybe we will gazump them and bring in 48-year-old Danny Welbeck to come off the bench 4 or 5 times a season and notch a goal for us. Why not? Well, look, thank you to Julie Welch, to Dave Bradshaw and Kev Acott. We thank you also, of course, to our listeners. Thank you. We're growing in numbers and we appreciate you joining us every week. We have got what am I going to do now? Yes, I know. Social media. Our X/Twitter account is @NiceOneCyrilPod. Our website is www.niceonecyrilpodcast.co.uk. All of the episodes are on there, plus info and photos of Julie and others. And what else? And yeah, why not give us a follow or subscribe to the podcast on the platform of your choosing. Thanks again to all my guests, and we'll be back next week. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Nice one, Cyril.